my roommate at the time owned a bar called Leela Jane's. His bouncer got sick. He was all like, hey, man, can you fill in? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So now I'm standing at the door. Guy shows up to the door. Well, this fool pulls out his gun and punches me right in the chest. So now this fool is shooting inside of the spot. And I'm thinking, like, he's coming to assassinate me. So now out of a sea of people, right, are like, run, get to the office, shut the door behind me. And I'm like, man, what the fuck just happened, right? We're in Lincoln Park. The police show up. They're like, man, they're like, a Jamaican to this. Why? What are you talking? And I said, I think there's DJ beef. He goes, are you fucking their women? Detective's like, okay. That was Friday. Saturday, I was supposed to do a gig at Leela Jane's. Greg was all like, nah, man.
He's like, listen, last time you were here, it didn't end well.
Right, exactly.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin.
Welcome back to the Party with Strategy podcast. Very special guest in the building. Chicago legend, OG himself. We don't know each other at all, really.
No.
But I do have a core memory of going to Crocodile with my brother. I was probably 18. I was using, my manager from Jimmy John's ID, who I bought off him for $25.
Awesome.
Getting out, trying to get into the scene. And I mean, really back then it was just all about getting girls. That's all we cared. We were going out, we like read the game, we're reading like pickup books, we're like we got to go out and like try and get girls, try and talk to them, like build our skills, like that whole era that you're in at
and that's
some
an amazing
point.
age to do it.
Yeah. So we go to Crocodile, which was just a legendary spot. First of all, you get a drink ticket with every drink. Or you get a ticket with every drink, and then you take that ticket and you can go get a fucking pizza.
Yeah.
What an incredible spot.
Yeah, it was.
But I remember being in the basement, and we're looking for girls, and I'm like, damn, that bartender's hot as fuck, dude. I was like, you should go talk to that bartender. So, my brother's older than me. I was, I'm watching, I'm learning more than I'm actually out there putting in the work. And I don't know why he knew this, but he was like, that's the DJ's girl. He was like, he was like, when you're a dope DJ, you get the hot bartender. Like, that was like a lesson he taught me. And you were the DJ down there.
That sounds about right.
So I have, like, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget him telling me, like, when you're the dope DJ, you get the hot girl. That's why I had to go in the path that I went.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
And 100% on that, and God bless these women that, like, they put up with us being DJs, because we really are out here.
Absolutely.
So I do remember Crocodile. Crocodile was the old Cinnabar.
See, I don't even know about that.
Oh, Cinnabar was a sexy spot, bro. It was super sexy. So before, like, the Shrine,
okay,
there was Cinnabar. Like kind of before even Funky Buddha, there was Cinnabar. And Cinnabar was 2 levels, but it was like, dark and sexy and like, a lot of R&B nights, and so this is in the early 90s. Chicago was very different. Wicker Park was very different.
Yeah, paint me a little picture. I mean, I know nothing about this really, especially that area. I've talked to a lot of people. I've heard a lot of the old names, Red No 5 and Dragon and Funky Buddha and all that. But like, I love getting a piece of history that I don't really know about.
Well, Wicker Park was a whole different animal, and it was so cool because, all these beautiful loft spaces, everybody was an artist, a musician, a DJ, so Friday through Sunday, on that strip, there'd be like 10 or 15 dope loft parties, and this is still when it was primarily, a Latino neighborhood still, and this was like the early 90s when you could still get a 2-3 bedroom for, under $500, so like it was really affordable. Chicago used to be very affordable. The Bulls killed all that.
They got too good.
Yeah, they got too good.
They blew the city up.
And blew the city up. Yeah. Went from a blue-collar city to a white-collar town, you know, real quick, you know. Well, during that strip in the 90s, right? And the Bulls are winning. And gentrification is happening in Wicker Park and all over the city, right? Lincoln Park used to be a Puerto Rican neighborhood, right? You know, so the city's changing, the city's growing. Wicker Park is blowing the fuck up, right? In terms of the artists that lived there, the community that was there. So we had really cool spots. I mean, my first real residency in the city was at Borderline, which is they called it a tavern, and then now it's a Chase Bank, right there on North Avenue, Damon and Milwaukee, right? So that used to be also Red Dog. So upstairs was Red Dog, and then the 4 a.m. bar downstairs was called Borderline, affectionately nicknamed Snorterline. Okay. So my first residency, it's 99. Okay, it's 1999. It's my first real residency. I'm there every Sunday and Tuesday from 10 to 4 a.m., right? Now, I'm DJing at the end of the bar. And the closest speaker is like 25 feet away and 10 feet up in the air. Right? So, like, it was really kind of like I was learning my chops, you know, and learning the neighborhood, you know, and getting really acquainted with the neighborhood because, like, there were so many people that would come to that 4 a.m. spot, you know. And that was one of the only ones. Nick's Beer Garden was also going on at that time.
And that's still there.
That's still there. So was the Blue Note, which turned into the Point, or turned into Flatiron, and then the Point.
Now it's the Point.
The Point just closed.
Oh, that's done.
Done.
Oh, wow. That was a dope venue.
It's a fucking awesome venue. And I love what June did when he took over the Flatiron, or the Blue Note. It was originally the Blue Note, and then the Note. I was there as well. I was there every Sunday after my stint at Borderland. The neighborhood was very different. It was very cool. Even the artists at the Flatiron, the neighborhood was super vibrant, community driven, you know, especially for all the artists there. You know, so it's changed now. It's a lot of families. It's all corporate. You know, like the old Double Doors, the Yeti store. I think Yeti just closed, but you know, we see how, you know, gentrification kind of just changes the vibration and the soul of a neighborhood. You know, we were talking about earlier. I live in Chinatown. I love Chinatown. It's amazing. It's so vibrant. It's kept its culture, its frequency. You know, but I'm still in Wicker Park. I'm still holding down that area. You know, we do Thursdays at Sub T. We rock Estelle's on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So, I mean, Wicker Park is home base for me, really, in terms of DJing.
Yeah,
you know, from the beginning all the way to now.
Damn, that's awesome. First of all, I didn't even give you a proper introduction. I just went right into the story. Ladies and gentlemen, Papa G.
Greetings.
In the building.
Boom.
Where you're born and raised in Chicago?
I was raised in Chicago, yeah. My family came from Ecuador. We came in 1976. We moved to Wrigleyville, Addison and Pine Grove. My grandfather worked at the Palmer House. And I have very fond memories of growing up in the 70s and 80s in Chicago. Chicago's my hometown. Yeah.
So what, as far as I know, which is not much, by the way, and I could be wrong, but I was always under the influence that you were like you were leading the reggae charge. If there was a reggae party, it was dope if you were there. Other than that, I don't know.
Okay, so I was very blessed because shout out to um, a good friend, my brother, and a mentor um, who kind of presented the idea of sharing the music with the people, right? That's really what I am. I'm just a servant to the community, right? I'm sharing the music that I love. Um, and shout out to my good childhood friend um, who helped me kind of cultivate this love for specifically reggae. So reggae is like that's my specialty, right? Okay. I used to have long dreadlocks.
That's what you had at Crocodile. That's what I remember.
I fell in love with reggae at an early age, and I think it obviously had a lot to do with me smoking herb. My vibration changed, and the music kind of, especially roots and culture, right? So like that's artists like Gregory Isaacs, Dennis Brown, Eka Mouse, Yellow Man, Bob Marley, obviously, were such great influences on me as a young man that I just started collecting music, right? And anything I could get my hands on, right? Whether it's vinyl, a cassette, a CD single. I mean, like it didn't matter, like it's like if it was reggae, I wanted it, right? So I got a chance to move to California. I lived in Santa Barbara from here. Shout out to my children, Elijah and Shiloh. They were both born in Santa Barbara. So while I'm in Santa Barbara, right? It was the most expensive place in the continental United States at the time, and you were either really rich or not at all.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm working like 4 or 5 jobs, right? And I'm working this gig. Sorry about the phone.
You want to silence it? Or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, we probably should.
You're getting blown up.
All day. So, okay, so I'm doing this gig as a park aide for the state parks and beaches. Beautiful. El Refugio, El Capitan. Amazing places. So I'm working one of the gates, right? I'm in the kiosk working the gates. I'm dressed like the ranger. I just don't have a gun, right? And little kids that think I'm a ranger, it was cool. It was a cool gig. And I'm outside. And I learned how to surf while I was out there. I mean, it was a great gig. So, sorry. So, sure enough, my good friend, my brother and mentor, Miles, came by with, he was doing work with a youth group. So he was bringing the youth group in a van to the park, right, to the state beach. So he comes in and, he's dread. So like I have a line of Judah on my arm. So we start talking about Rastafari and, I'm like, what are you guys doing? And he's like, oh, I'm taking these kids out. And I'm like, you know what? Because you're supposed to pay a fee. I was like, you know what? I just raised the gate up. I was like, you good, And he goes, I have a reggae radio show. He goes, I go, I've heard it. He goes, oh, it's Champion Sounds, on Thursdays. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll tune in. He's like, you know what? Here's my information. Hit me up one day. So obviously I listened to the radio show and kicked it. And I hit him up. We became like friends, right? Acquaintances. Like I didn't really know anybody that well in Cali, but he was going to graduate school at UCSB, and he had the radio show at KCSB, 91.9 FM. So Thanksgiving Day, 1997, I have a day off, right? And he had already been in my house and saw my music collection and said, it is a crime and a disservice to the people if you don't share the music with them. And I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I go, that doesn't even make sense. What do you mean? He goes, bring a bag of this music down to the station. And I was like, dude, I ain't got no time for this shit. You know, I mean, I work. But like I said, I had a day off, Thanksgiving Day. So I was like, hey, man, you know, is that offer still stand? Can I come down to the station? And he goes, yeah, bring it back down. So I was like, cool. So I drive down there. It's at Stork Towers in the campus of UCSB. And very similar, you know, we're in the studio. You know, he's at the main bus or main monitor. You know, we've got the turntables, the rack of CDs, the carts, things that looked like 8-tracks, you know, that had all the little promos and stuff. So now we're seconds from air, right? He's got a couple carts in doing the promos right now. So he swivels around and he goes, okay. He goes, what's your DJ name? And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, damn, there's food in there. He didn't prep me for this. I was like, damn, what the fuck? So now I'm thinking, I'm like, man, what is my DJ name? So all I can hear was my son calling me Papa, right? So he's looking at me and I go, Papa G? And he gives me this dirty look, right? He's like, So he brings the boom mic down and he goes, you know, the intro, his intro song just stops and he goes, greetings, this is another edition of Champion Sounds with Nati Miles High on 91.9 FM. We have a very special guest. And he turned around and looked at me again and gives me this dirty look and he goes, DJ Papa G. And the name stuck. I mean, like it's an honor to Elijah, Shiloh, and Kaya. You know, I'm yeah. I could have been Sleepy G. I could have been Smokey G. I could have been any kind of G, but I'm Papa G.
Papa G's dope.
Thank you.
It's a dope name.
Thank you.
And it's real. Just out of nowhere. No thought. Just that's the realest shit.
I fell in love with sharing the music that day. So like I haven't stopped since that day. Like since that day, my whole world is revolved around sharing the music with the people, right? So imagine living in Santa Barbara. It's fucking beautiful weather, right? It's the kindest bud, you know, you could think of. And reggae playing everywhere. It was the style and fashion, right? Everybody was listening to fucking reggae. So when I came back to Chicago, in 99, I'm like, where's the reggae? Right? Where's the reggae scene? You know,
yeah.
Like what's really popping?
Wait, so okay, the first time you ever DJ'd was on the radio.
Yeah.
On the spot, you come up with your name.
Yes.
And then you're in front of 2 turntables and a mixer, proper DJ setup.
Yep.
You have no idea what you're doing, I got to imagine.
No.
And what year is this? This is
97.
97.
So this is 97.
Okay.
I have no idea. I've never wanted to be a DJ before. I never thought about like I had friends, the homie Jeremy Soul, we used to live together, and oh my God, he would do routines in the morning, right? So, you know, he'd be like, you know, scratching back and forth. He'd be like, oh, she's bad. Oh, she's bad. And she's a musical. Oh, she's bad. And it would drive me fucking insane. And I didn't understand.
You're like, turn that shit off.
Right. What the fuck? It was just the practice time, right? It's like a a pilot, right? A pilot, before he gets his license, has to have a certain amount of flight hours, right? So that's basically what he was doing. He was getting his flight hours and he was getting his practice in, right? Like, before the gig. And I never understood that. I just thought it was annoying, right? But I've annoyed my partners. Why are you listening to that, that track over and over? Like the whole day, it'll just have the same track over and over. It's on replay. Boom. Again. Really? Again? Yes. Again.
You're dropping bombs, funk flex, putting it back, spin it back.
But it's just so I can learn the song, before I share it, right? I just want to know it inside and out. I want to know, what lyric, is going to drop here. And like, it just little simple shit, I just want to know it, So yeah, we went from, and big up the homie Jeff Free Eye, who was really the 45 master, right? He would be flipping them like pancakes, right? So like a lot of the stuff back then wasn't digital, right? Like we couldn't go to YouTube and just download some shit, or Napster, and none of that. It was all like we do it. These companies like VP Records, or they would have distributors, and the distributors would give us these long sheets of like all the artists and the rhythms, because like what's nice about reggae is that it's made for DJs. Producers make it specifically for DJs. And that's really the foundation of the elements of hip hop, is all rooted in Caribbean sound system culture, right? So the turntablism, right? The cat on the mic. That was called the selector and the DJ. The DJ was the cat on the mic, and the selector was the DJ. He'd be on the wheels of steel, right? And then the other one is a dance, like break dancing, and the other one is art, right? Like the graffiti, right? So like they would hand paint their own signs, right, for the dance. Right, it'd be like Stone Love, with Rory, like, and it'd be like, and it'd tell you like 5JA, it. So all these elements, of reggae turned into hip hop, but like I was saying, the producers, right, because they really started out doing the sound system, business and culture. They really understood what it meant for a DJ to be able to like juggle a rhythm. That's why they do it. They're like, you know what? We're gonna create a beat and put 30 motherfuckers on that shit. We're gonna let them do their own song. 30 motherfuckers on the same beat, and usually 3 or 4 of them are gonna fucking hit, right? So then you just juggle the 4 different artists, from Sean Paul to Beanie Man, from Beanie Man to Mr. Vegas to Capleton. And for many years, that's how it was. And he'd be flipping them like pancakes, right? And what was special, right? Before stems, because the producers and the record labels were making this for DJs to play, they'd give us the version, the instrumental. Sometimes they'd fuck around and give us the acapella, right? So that's where stems really comes from. These kids have it so easy now. You could just be like, boop, acapella, look at that. Before, you have to actually have a copy of the fucking acapella, right? So things have changed, and I'm not a hater. I think it's for the better, like it's great. I could do some fucking magic up there now, like before it used to be like, oh my God, so I gotta go back, it was like 1,000 times more work, So no, I don't mind not doing that much work, but I still do vinyl sets every once in a while, which really like kind of reignite that passion of DJing, like analog like that. It's fun. We got to do it for at Garcia's. We got to open up for Damien and Stephen Marley on their Traffic Jam tour. It was such an intimate, small little venue, and it was cool. We did a vinyl set. Me and Boy Genius, shout out to Ruben.
Sick.
Oh man, we slayed it. We killed it. It was fucking awesome. And he likes to record everything, so it was a cool recording, and it was a great night. And like I said, those kind of events, and when I get to do the vinyl, Special.
That's sick. So real quick, I'm gonna try and stick to the timeline, but
Okay,
obviously
yeah,
you go
yeah.
off on tangents. I
Okay,
want to
my
hear
bad, my bad.
everything. No, not your bad whatsoever. I'm just giving you a little
Boom.
insight of to how I'm gonna try and do it.
Brilliant.
But we branch off, talk about whatever. But I'm gonna try and keep a timeline here. 97,
Yes, sir.
first time DJing ever. You're live on the radio. I just need to know before we leave it, like what do you even do? You don't know how to DJ, but you obviously know the music. You're obviously very talented in curating the music. That's why this man brought you here. Did you just let the song play?
He had no idea. He had no idea either. This could have been this, like it's like a draft pick. It could be a bust, or it could be like, Caleb Williams going to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
He didn't know. He had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah, you're not up there mixing. You don't know how to mix yet.
Nope.
Were you just selecting? You just play a song and then you play the next one.
It was, selection here, selection there. I was too shy to speak. So like, it was really like that. That very first day was a huge learning curve, right? Like I not that I was a huge audiophile or anything, but I knew how to work my way around like the CD players and like the turntables and like, I because I had lived with DJs before, like I was acquainted with the equipment, but that day was like a real learning curve, like how to work the bus, the giant monitor, and make sure that everything's like, like even just muting yourself. Muting the mic.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be a hot mic. We'd be sitting there bullshitting, talking bullshit. Be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry about that.
That's great. So you fall in love with it at that moment?
At that moment.
And there's not even a crowd in front of you.
No,
you can't even see people.
No,
you don't even know what it's like to DJ in front of people yet. You just fall in love with it in a radio station.
In a radio station, in a room, like it was just me, Miles, and Free Eye, and we didn't even know if anybody was listening, really,
right?
But Miles was very special, Champion Sounds. I mean, like he was going to graduate school there at that time, and really eloquent, charming, and very intellectual and philosophically. Spiritually based teachings that he had as a young man, he brought to the radio show. So like for every radio show, like I'd be sitting there like amazed, like by some of the concepts and ideas that he would bring up about not only Rastafari and that part of the culture, but just about being a human being, just living upfully, being respectful to one another, being kind, so reggae and Rastafari have a conception and it's mostly love, so it was an honor to be part of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
now I'm on a mission, right?
Yeah, now you're set off. The spark has been lit.
The spark was lit, and it was really kind of like dynamite, right? Like I just felt deep. I already had the collection, right? So now the mission statement was to share. Okay, so now I come back to Chicago. There's only a few places, right? There's the Wild Hair. There's Exodus, and both of those are on the same block on Clark Street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and a bunch of dope Ethiopian restaurants as well, little Jamaican spots here and there. Thank God I grew up over there. Like it was what a great experience, And then my friend's family, big up to Prove and TDT, the crew back in the day. Their family had the Cantina and El Jardín, so that was also part of. Growing up in Chicago, I went to Medusa's, which was like a fucking 4-story fucking club, and they had an all ages party with a juice bar until 10 o'clock on the weekends, right? And then they would kick all the kids out. But we learned that if you climb up the back way through the Torts and Glass Company, you can make it all the way to the 5th floor, kick the door in, and then work your way downstairs. It was kind of like a video game. You had to work your way down these levels, and one of the levels was all beds. Motherfuckers were all cracked out, fucking like doing. Man, Medusa's was wild.
Where was that at?
Belmont and Sheffield. So
Okay.
it was on School in Sheffield,
Okay.
right there on the corner. Like, people live there now, which is a fucking amazing. Like when I walk past there, I'm like, oh my God, the shit that went down in this building, you know? So anybody that remembers Medusa's was incredible. So like the main floor was like about 2 stories, you know? So it was like 2 stories that had like a little balcony section that had a huge main stage. It was a giant theater in there, and people lived there. But, you know, having these experiences of dancing, right? Seeing my friends DJ, right? At the cantina, you know, like, so when I come back to the city, I'm like, yes, I can do this, right? So I remember telling my friends, I'm like, man, I'm going to be a reggae DJ. And they were like, you what? They're like, man, you better put some hip hop in there. And in the very beginning, I was very strict. Even for the like, I didn't play Drake until Bad Bunny had the song with him, Mia. Like, I didn't play Drake at all. Like, there was no Drake. And I would say that at Reggae Gold. Like, I'd be like, there's no Drake played. You know, like, mother's, yeah, no Drake. You know, so, yeah, I was very, very, very strict, right? So I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the #1 reggae DJ in Chicago. You know, this is for real. This is what's going to happen, right? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we'll see. And so my very first gig was at the Map Room, which is still there over there by Hoyne and Armitage, right? And Mark and Laura owned that, and they were friends of my good friend Wolf Stern and Jason Stern. So they got me the gig there, and they paid me $300, right?
That's
They usually have a band, right? So that was the band money, but they gave it all to me, right? So they didn't have the band that night; it was me. So so holy shit! I'm like, oh my God! Yes, I can do this. And like
399. It's like $3K right now,
bro. Damn near. I'm telling you, with the shit. Yes, exactly. So it kind of also, I was also like, yes, I'm in Chicago, right? It's pretty affordable, right? I could live here compared to California and Santa Barbara, right? I was like, I can make a living here doing this for real. So I was a bike messenger. Shout out to Velocity. I was a bike messenger. So when I came back, I didn't want to be a bike messenger, right? I was all like, man, I don't want to be a bike messenger, right? Like, it's cool, it's fun, I love it. It's one of the best jobs I've ever had. I love it, right? But I was all like, I want to be closer to the music, right? You know, and this is gonna make me really tired, right? Like, I can't. How am I gonna work, do 50 miles a day, and then work until 4 in the morning, right? So I got a job at Vibes Record Store over there by Broadway and Columbia. Okay, so now right by the 400 Theater, right? It's a Starbucks now, but it was a record store called Vibes, and it was part of National Record Mart, right? So when I went in there to apply, the manager goes, "Do you want to be the manager?" And I'm like, "Is this a fucking joke?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I don't want to be the manager." I was like, "Okay." So I became the manager at Vibes, right? So what was happening was that all the kids were just robbing the store blind, and like the workers were scared of them, right? Like they were like when the kids would come in, and they were just kids. When the kids would come in, they would basically turn their back and let the kids fucking steal, right?
What were they scared of?
Getting beat up,
Just
I guess. I don't know. I mean, like
little hoodlums
yeah,
going,
little
gone
hoodlums.
wild.
So I put a stop to all that shit because I ain't scared of those motherfuckers, right? So So yeah, I was the manager, and I was close to music, so like it was a lot of fun, in terms of just I I, I just enjoyed it. I just enjoyed every part of opening up boxes and being like, "Ooh, look at this new release! Oh my God! Oh, this is the new Britney Spears! Oh my God! Look at this! This is gonna sell out today!" Just the joy of being a part of it, even the small part of it. It's just a little record store, But I'm in the industry, right? In my mind, I'm like, yeah,
Absolutely.
this is we're doing it. This is part of it. So now, Y2K pops off. I'm now at Sam Goody as the assistant manager of Sam Goody at the Chicago Palace over there by the Saks Fifth Avenue building on Michigan Avenue, right? So now I'm over there. Y2K happens.
Was that like an upgrade? Was that like, oh shit, I'm fucking moving up to Sam Goody, or was it?
It was an upgrade. It was an upgrade in pay to it was like this little rinky dinky store now. Sam Goody. Like we'd see R. Kelly. With his big ass fur and stuff, going in there looking at his CD.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we would see R. Kelly a lot in the malls. So now, I'm like, you know what? I've got a lot of music, right? I'm gonna go work at Guitar Center. Shout out to GC Nation. Look, I went down there, and in 2000, right? So this is quick. This is like boom, 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 boom. So now I'm in Guitar Center working pro audio, right?
Off Halstead.
Yeah, right there on Halstead, man. Like, and it was really a smart move on my part because I met producers, I met DJs, I met club owners, I met restaurant owners.
Yeah, who was coming into Guitar Center other than me at 8 years old, begging my dad to go there so I could play the drums?
Oh my God, it was a great experience. One, because I was one of the only Latinos that worked there, so I was able to sell in every single department, right? So
now speaking Spanish?
Yeah, speaking Spanish, right? So, yeah, selling in Spanish, I could go to the keyboard department and sell a keyboard. Like I'll add the keyboard department dude on the ticket and everything, but I was getting a cut of damn near everything in that store. I would sell guitars, so I was the only one that was one of the two that was able to do that, right? So everybody showed up to that Guitar Center at the time. Pre 9/11, everybody and their mother would show up over there. Like you said, little kids would get on the drum kits and shit, fucking ball out and shit, and there'd be like dude playing, like Stairway to Heaven like all day and stuff.
Yeah, practicing.
Yeah, it was a great environment, right? So like I said, I was meeting a lot of, not only artists, like singers, songwriters, producers, DJs. But what really helped was a lot of the owners would show up of like these clubs, like let's say Wild Hair, right? Wild Hair would want to come in and be like, we want to upgrade the system, right? Exodus would be like, oh man, I need a new mixing board, right? So who would sell it to him? Me.
Papa G,
right? And I had long dreads at that time, and it was such a fun gig. It was commission based, and I would sell everything to the lowest possible, right? To make sure you come back and see me, I got you, because it'd be like, oh man, this is $1,200. I can't afford that. Well, what you got, fool? And at that time we'd be able to go into the computer and like do it ourselves. Sometimes if it was too much, I'd have to ask the manager. And I remember one manager was like, man, why you always be pulling your pants down for that, man? And I'm like, man, I'm just building relations. So relationships, So that worked out really, really well. And so now I'm taking executive lunches, right? I'm coming in late, leaving early for my gigs, right? So now we have an all-store meeting, right? Like an evaluation, right? Like all the employees, right? So now it's my turn, right? So Bob is sitting at his desk. And he goes, George, we love you here, man. Like, you do great. You do great at sales, man. It's awesome. But, it's the little things that you got to do, right? It's you're coming in on time. leaving when you're supposed to, not taking a 2-hour fucking break, like, and doing all your paperwork, because we were supposed to have like call cards. We were supposed to call back the client or the person that bought like the little tiny mixer and be like, hey, how's that mixer working out for you? Well, if you need anything, come, so like, but I never did that shit. I was like, man, fuck all that. So Bob goes, we really want you here, but you have to get your shit together, man. Like, or you can go and live your dream. And holy shit, man, like that, I stood up off my feet, like on my feet. I stood up off the chair on my feet, went up to his desk, shook his hand, and I said, Bob, thank you so much for the time here. I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice because I'm going to go live my dream. And all the managers, like their face, like they were like their jaws dropped. One was laughing. He was like, this guy and shit, right? But I haven't worked a day since.
That's incredible.
That was my last day.
So from the map room to Guitar Center, quitting Guitar Center.
Yeah.
Were you just doing little gigs here and there? You didn't have like anything regular?
No,
just...
like I would, I would do like little bits here and there. And because I was, like I had like a bag full of reggae, it was kind of like really, really niche because everybody was doing more like hip hop, R&B, house, disco, anything else but reggae, and especially in Wicker Park, right? So I remember one of the first gigs I had was at Betty's Blue Star Lounge, which became, it's called Lemon now, but it was Grand Bar. It was a bunch of other stuff, but it was really Betty's Blue Star Lounge. So I was there with
that's Grand and Ashland, right?
Grand and Ashland.
Yeah.
Right? So that was a 4:00 spot back then too, and it was a cool bar, man. It was just a cool scene. I think Aloe and Iron brought me in.
Oh, Aloe, dude! I haven't heard that fucking name forever.
Legend. They allowed me to come in and do a cool little reggae set with them,
bro.
And a promoter that was there, PJ Blackfist. He saw me. And he's like, okay, this is some good shit. And he actually was the one that got me into Borderline. So he was doing a Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? No, I think he was doing a Sunday there. He was doing a Sunday there with DJ Redlax, who's also a legend. And I stand on his shoulders as well. Big up, Will. Because Redlax at that time was really the only DJ outside of the Caribbean community spinning reggae music. And he had a legendary night at Lava Lounge every Tuesday. So I was able to, just maneuver around Redlocks enough, to create my own scene, and that was really due in part with the stints in Wicker Park, Borderline, The Note, and then we moved to Subterranean. I've been there for 21 years every Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a fucking residency.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's another residency like that out there in Chicago, but we've been doing it a long time. And, we've won awards. The Reader's given us awards. Chicago Magazine in 2013 gave us the best reggae dance party in the city. And I think that's really when that party reached its peak was 2013. We had 3 floors going. We had over 300 people. We had a line around the block. It was pretty incredible, COVID kind of fucked up a lot of things and stuff, and the neighborhood drastically changed, right? So, but reggae is still strong in the city. It has its ebbs and flows too, depending on like the vibration of the dance hall, right? Because in the early and mid 2000s, holy cow, like from like 97 to like 2005, dance hall was nice. Oh shit, dance hall was really nice, and people couldn't get enough of it. That's why the party was so successful, because like literally people just could not get enough of that sound, you know, and they were crossing over, right? So like Beanie Man's doing stuff with Maya, Janet Jackson, you know, Sean Paul's doing shit with Beyonce, you know, DMX is doing shit with Sean Paul and fucking Mr. Vegas doing fucking Belly, the whole movie Belly, you know? So like that connection between hip hop and reggae and dancehall has always been there. It's just, you know, like sometimes it's higher and sometimes it's lower, right? You know? So this is kind of like one of this, like, oh, like we're rising again, you know, motherfuckers are like digging the scene again, you know? But it's always been there. It's always been there. Chicago's been a sleeping giant. But there's cats that are waking it, like Ringo, One Blood, you know, legends in the game, you know, Daddy Lester, Field Marshal, all from Chicago. I mean, you know, Black Sabbath Sound, you know, these cats are holding down Chicago reggae, and we're still trying to wake the giant up. But you know, you go to LA, you go to Miami, you go to New York, you go to Germany, you go to Poland, you go to the UK. So reggae's it, man. Reggae and dancehall is it, you know. So I'm happy to have been able to share my music with the people here in Chicago specifically.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And let me ask you something that may make me look like an idiot, because this came up recently. Actually, I was talking to Big Once. And he was telling me how much he hates Sublime and 311.
Okay.
Big Sublime fan. And I know nothing about reggae, like nothing at all. I'm very uneducated on reggae. I never had that. I never had the privilege of somebody like putting me on to reggae music and really educating me on it. I love Sublime. As a real reggae dude, how do we feel? Sublime like that, is it the whack shit, or is it like they're cool because they took, you know, they love reggae obviously and did their own thing?
Well, when we talk about like Sublime and 311, you know, they're really the template for all the California bands that are coming out, like Revolution. You know, they really set the stage for like an all-white reggae band to be accepted and, you know, to be legit. I mean, like, it's a little crazy because like Revolution is selling out stadiums, and, you know, like, you know, really dope artists like, for example, Sizzla or Capleton and Sean Paul aren't really selling out stadiums anymore like that, you know?
It's kind of the same thing in house music that you hear. Like John Summit is selling out.
There you go.
But Mike Dunn is not.
Bingo. Very similar. But there's an intrinsic worth to what they're doing. And I like Sublime. Like I personally dig their style and what they did and how they pushed it to the mainstream, because it's like, you know, otherwise, you know, that vibration may not have been heard on the radio, you know, and it's important for it to be on the radio, you know, in the zeitgeist, you know, of the culture, right? It deserves its place here, you know? So, you know, thank goodness for bands like Sublime, bands like, The Police, you know, a lot of their shit is reggae. You know, like, and what's funny is that Sting wrote a lot of his early songwriting stuff in Jamaica, in Ian Fleming's Jamaican home, where he wrote James Bond. So specifically Dr. No, but bands like Blondie, you know. There's a little hint of reggae in there, you know, whether it's the guitar, you know, or the keyboard skank, you know, but it's in there, and you know, and Culture Club with the come a chameleon, red, gold, and green, Red, gold, and green. That's a reggae song, you know? So, and on a side note, in the 80s and early 90s, there were no piracy laws. So in Jamaica, you can cover anything and make it a hit out there and not have to pay royalties because it's, you know, the laws have changed in terms of privacy. But pirating is basically they're music pirates out there, you know? So there's like great covers of like anything you could think of. Like I still play to this day. It's Tony Curtis. He does a cover of Faith, the George Michael song. Oh, it's fucking awesome.
It's better than the Limp Bizkit one.
I haven't heard the Limp Bizkit.
You never heard the Limp Bizkit? Oh man, that was my shit, bro.
Yeah.
That was my shit. I got to hear the reggae version because that's a banger. Faith goes hard.
Well, no, I'm gonna have to hear the Limp Bizkit one. Yeah, so Chicago's been a wonderful city to have come up in and to have had my career here. Like, you know, and because I have a family, like I didn't travel much. Like my first vacation was 5 years ago when I went to Puerto Rico for the first time in years, you know, because I never missed a Thursday. I did over like 500 Thursdays in a row pre-COVID. Like it was boom, boom, every Thursday. Like if I went anywhere, I'm back Thursday, you know. And then having multiple residencies, I mean, I'm still working my ass off out here, but back in the day, wow, man, we're destroying shit out here, you know. And like I'll give you an example, like. My Thursdays wouldn't end at Sub T. We would take it to Zentra. Big up DJ Trilogy.
Shouts
big up
Trilogy.
Rob. You know, big up the whole crew of Zentra. I mean, like, and we would take the party over there, right down to Weed Street. And Weed Street was a whole different animal. There was like fucking 7 clubs right there. Now it's all like clothing stores.
Patagonia store.
Yeah. You know, Alta or whatever. I don't know. But, and I think Zentra now is a dispensary.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a dispensary now, which is perfect because it's on Weed Street. But, you know, and then, you know, after Zentra, you know, kind of fizzled away, we went to Evil Olive. We were doing the after party at Evil Olive. I mean, it was just like that. That's how much the demand was.
Yeah. So quitting Guitar Center, that was still in 99.
No. So quitting Guitar Center was in 2002, 2003.
Okay, so you were there for a while. 2003, when does the residency at Sub T start?
Okay, so I told you now, I'm at Guitar Center. The cat from Exodus, you know, Murray. Rest in peace, Murray. He comes down. And he buys some gear, and he sees it, and he's like, "Where were you, a Rasta man and stuff?" Because he's a Rasta, he's from Jamaica, right? And he had scars to prove it. I mean, all over his face, you know, like he had been a warrior out there, right? And so I tell him I'm a reggae DJ, and he goes, "Get the fuck out of here!" Right? And he goes, "Well, come down," because my Thursdays originally started at Exodus, okay. So now I have a crazy story. This is a wild story. I'm gonna try to have it a little abridged, but so now I'm spinning at Exodus, right? Okay, and all of a sudden I hear this banging, bang, 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 and I'm like, oh my god! So like I'm going through the crates, and I look up, and I'm like, oh my god, there must be a fight or something. But apparently, in Jamaican culture, if they hear a banger, they're gonna bang. So like, man, I had these motherfuckers banging all night, right? And I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome, right? So now, on Wednesday night, they had a thing called Dance Hall 101 at the Wild Hair. Okay, huge party, right? Huge party. 2 floors, dancers, DJs on stage and shit. So the promoters come to Thursday, and they're like, "Damn, this is pretty cool, man." They're like, so what else do you do? Stuff. I'm like, well, I'm Sundays at the Note, you know? And they're like, okay. They're like, well, let's do a DJ exchange. And I was like, perfect. All right. I was like, I could come in on a Wednesday, do a quick early roots and culture set before y'all get into the dance hall, just to prime the audience and shit, right? Like get them ready for prime time, right? I got you, you know, opening DJ, you know. So I come in, I do a couple Wednesdays. They start promoting, okay, the night on Sunday that they're coming in. Okay, we do a photo shoot and everything, you know, like I'm in my red, gold, and green and stuff, and like, so now this is like the third Wednesday that I do. The end of the night, we're all downstairs in the basement. It's a huge green room, right? It's a huge green room downstairs. Couches and stuff. So now there's like 20 of us all sitting down there having like a little group, you know, meeting about the night, right? So I'm just sitting there smoking a joint and shit, chilling and shit. And all of a sudden they're like, and Papa G. And I'm like, oh shit, what? I'm like, what's up, man? They're like, this Sunday, don't come into the note. And I'm like, what? What you mean? It's my night. I was like, what you talking about? Don't come into the note. He goes, no, man. He's like, don't come into the note. He's like, we got it. He's like, take a vacation or something. I said, what? Take a vacation? I go, you guys are making a big mistake. They're like, no, man. I was like, okay. So I got up and immediately called the manager at the note and was all like, hey, we still good for Sunday, right? He's like, yeah, of course. I was like, hey, do you mind if we have a little extra security there on Sunday for me? So I kind of broke down what was going on. He was like, oh, yeah, for sure. I was like, okay, cool. So now Sunday shows up. And I got there early. I told him, I was like, hey, can I come in a little early to set up and shit? And he's like, yeah, of course. I was like, okay, cool. So I got there early. I set up. And I'd put like, you know, the Ethiopian flags in front of my DJ booth, and I'd set up the booth and stuff. And so now they came in. They came in like, I don't know, 20, 30 deep and surrounded me on stage and was like, get your shit and get the fuck off stage. So I was all like, nah. And they're like, bomba clap pussy ho, move ya. Right? So I was all like, nah. I was like, security got him. So now they stayed the whole night. They just stayed there the whole night. It just mean mugging me, right? So the party was slamming and shit, right? We jamming it because it was a 4:00 spot and shit. Fucking, yeah, it was a party. So now I had a little Saab at the time, right? I had a little stick shift, a 5-speed Saab. It was cool, and so now I see these fools down Milwaukee, like waiting for me and shit, right? So like I jump in the car and shit. I got a little 5-speed and shit. I do like a big tour around the city and then go home, right? Well, my roommate at the time owned a bar called Leela Jane's on Armitage and Sheffield. Okay, it became Ja Grill. It became a Jamaican spot. I think it's like a chicken spot now. Okay, but it's the spot is still there. Okay, so he bought this spot, called it after his grandmother's, Leela Jane's. His bouncer got sick. He's my roommate. He's like, hey man, we got a jazz band here tonight. All my homies. He's like, we got a jazz band. My good friend Ross Marcus was in the kitchen. He would make the dip. Big up, Ross Marcus. I missed the dip. So he was all like, hey, man, can you fill in for my bouncer? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I was like, no problem, right? It was a warm April day. I had a white shirt on. You know, I had sandals on and shit. Like I was just kicking it. Shit, all the people in the band I knew and shit. I worked with them before. You know, they're playing different bands and stuff. They went to Guitar Center, you know. So now I'm standing at the door, checking IDs, you know, kicking it, right? And so now Ross Marcus comes out back from the kitchen and shit, right? And we're smoking a joint outside and shit. And I see one of the promoters. The promoter that told me to take a vacation from the note across the street, right? looking at me all crazy, right on the phone, just looking at me crazy. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, he must have been promoting down here to the college kids or something, and just happened to be in front of each other, right? Like, weird, you know. So that goes on, right? Just chilling, didn't think anything of it. Okay. About an hour later, a guy shows up to the door with a deep Jamaican accent and goes, "Is there a cover tonight?" Right? And I go, "Nope, I just need to see your ID." So he goes like this. And I'm like completely aloof. You know, I'm like, yep, he's getting his wallet out. Nothing to fear or anything. And I'm just do. Well, this fool pulls out his gun and punches me right in the chest and pulls the trigger. Well, he punched me so fucking hard that I thought he shot me. Later on, there was a giant bruise on my chest, right? Okay. So he punches me with the gun, takes the gun out of battery. So when he pulls the trigger, it hit the slide, right? So now we're looking at each other just like this, but like closer, right? Okay, so we're just looking at each other, right? And I'm like, this fool just shot me. And this fool's looking like, why isn't he dead, right? So he takes a step back, recocks the pistol or the gun, and the little bullet that should have been inside of me starts flipping out of the gun in slow motion, right? So I'm standing in front of the doorway. So now, instead of bringing the gun up like this fool brought up the gun like this, sideways. So when he shot, the doorway, because like the door went, like it just, the door frame exploded right in my face, like. So now, I literally jumped out of my sandals backwards. Okay. So now this fool is shooting inside of the spot. It's one in the wall, 2 ricochet off the floor. And I'm thinking that this fool is like he's coming to assassinate me, right? So I don't know if you remember that Seinfeld Costanza, like there's a fire and he just goes through the old ladies and like the little kids and like he's like, well, that's exactly what happened. I went through the crowd of people, through the tables. There was the bathroom and the offices were downstairs. So I dove down the stairs, knocking people down. You know, because people were coming up. I dove right down the stairs. I just dove. So now, out of a sea of people, right, or like a big like mass of people, like I run, get to the office, shut the door behind me, and I'm like, man, what the fuck just happened, right? So now I look down and there's blood on my shirt. So I'm like, oh my God, I take the shirt off. I'm like, this motherfucker shot me somewhere, but there's nothing there, right? So now I'm like, oh my God, this motherfucker shot one of my homies, one of the people that I know upstairs, right? So now I run upstairs, shirtless, shoeless because my sandals came off, looking crazy, dreads flying everywhere, and there's a cat sitting right off of his seat on the ground, bleeding because like one of the bullets that ricocheted off the ground hit this fool in the knee. Okay, so that's where the blood came from, because I was on the ground when I jumped. I hit the ground and then got up, right? So the blood hit me. Turns out that brother had a long recovery from that. They had fucked his knee up real good. Okay, so now the police show up. All right, we're in Lincoln Park. The police show up. They're like, man, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, I don't know. It's crazy. Right? So they take me to Belmont and Western. Okay, so now I'm at Belmont and Western. Okay, one of the little rooms and shit. The little interrogation rooms and shit. So now I'm in there. All hyped up and shit, right? I'm just like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck just happened and shit, right? Yeah. So they come in and out and they're like, okay, they're like, a Jamaican did this. Why? What are you talking? And I said, I think there's DJ beef, right? You know, they try to steal my night and shit, and fucking I think they try to assassinate me, right? So they're like, oh, come on, man. They're like, do you owe them money? I go, no. Is it about ganja?
I said ganja.
No. He goes, are you fucking their women? And I'm like, no.
You're like, all appropriate questions,
Yes.
but I promise you, dog, like.
No, it has nothing to do with that. And they're like, DJ business. And I'm like, yes, DJ business. Okay. So now they're like, okay. They take a picture of the thing. You know, they take pictures of me and stuff. Now they leave me in this room. Okay. They're like, it's going to be a while. Just if you want, turn on the TV, right? So that, you know how like they used to cart in TVs to like grade schools and shit. So they had one of those in there, right?
You got the strap on it.
Exactly. and it's in the police district. So like it's extra secure, right? So fucking the only station that came in was a Christian evangelical station. Okay. So I'm like, fuck it, man. I'll just watch this shit. Well, guess what the sermon of the day was? Forgiveness. So now I'm listening to the sermon, right? And I'm like, you know what? I forgive these fools. I forgive these. There was no hatred in my heart. There was no like, we getting these motherfuckers, right? I was like, nah, man. I was like, I forgive them because they don't know what the fuck they doing, right? Okay. So now the detective's like, okay, well, here's my card. If you see these motherfuckers, hit us up. Okay. That was Friday. Saturday, I was supposed to do a gig at Leela Jane's. Greg was all like, nah, man.
He's like, listen, last time you were here, it didn't end well.
Right, exactly. So I was all like, damn, dog. I was all like, no, I need to do this. So I hit up the Lion's Den. It was on 61st and Racine. 61st and Racine, the Lion's Den. I did an all dub set there that night, you know, just to like, you know, like just cleanse the spirit and like, you know, burn the duppy vibes out, right? Duppy's like a Jamaican word for like bad spirit or like, you know, ghost, you know, so like we burned the duppy vibes out, right? You know, through dub and meditation and reggae and Rasta music, right? So that was Saturday. Well, on Tuesday was the legendary night at Lava Lounge with Redlocks. And what we used to go do is pass out flyers, right? Yeah. So I'm out there passing out flyers. Okay. Well, guess who shows up? The fucking dude from across the street. His name was Henry. Okay. So Henry shows up. Okay. Henry shows up and goes, he sees me, but, you know, acts like, you know, like he doesn't see me, right? Because I'm right in front of the door. Obviously, he saw me. So he goes in. So I immediately called the detectives. I was like, man, one of the motherfuckers involved in this shit is here. They're like, we're on our way. Okay. So the dude that orchestrated this shows up, right? The main DJ shows up. Okay. And when he shows up, he's got this little cute Ethiopian babe with him. You know. So when he walks up to me, he's looking at me like a dog, right? He's just got this like snarl, right? He's looking at me like he's gonna devour me and fuck me up and maul me to death, right? So he looks at me and I look at him right in the eye and I go, "Who Jah bless, no man curse." And bro, I spiritually punched him in the fucking gut. It was like this black man turned pale, right? So he's looking at me like kind of fucking confused, and he walks in with this babe, right? So now the fucking cops show up, and they got this big motherfucker, and they're all detectives, right? They're all plainclothes, right? So they're like, "Show us." So walked in. I go, "Him," and they literally went in there and picked his ass up and took him outside, shoved him up against the wall and shit, handcuffed him, and took him to Belmont and Western for questioning. Okay, so now my roommate is all like, "Hey, my girlfriend's really uncomfortable with you living with us." He's all like, he's like, you got 30 days, bro. You got a month to move out. I was like, "Really, Greg?" I was like, they're not coming. I was like, nobody's coming to kill me, bro. They're like, well, we don't know. I was like, I can't afford that, right? We were living off of Morgan and Lake at the time before it really got developed like it is now, right? We were living in a cool loft, man. It was a fucking dope-ass loft. It was a huge loft, man. We were kicking it in there. So I had to move. Okay, so now I'm living with my babe, okay? We're living off of Grand and May, okay? It's like about 3-4 months later, okay? I'm living out here, like I'm paranoid, right? Like I remember passing out flyers in front of the dark room, and somebody looked suspicious to me, and I like literally ran around the car to like angle myself off, shit, just in case anything did pop off and shit. Like the 3-4 months were crazy. They're doing the dance hall 101 thing. I'm doing my thing on Sundays and shit, always looking around my shoulder and shit, like driving like, extra around the house. Nobody knows where I live and shit, you know? So I get a knock on the door. Who is it? Police. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what the fuck are they here for? And shit. I'm like, I'm fucking tripping and shit. What the fuck are the cops here for? Is the fucking detective and shit. He's like, well, we got a lead. We need you to come down to the station. I was like, okay. So apparently through Henry's phone records, the night of the shooting, this fool called the shooter 200 times before the shooting and like 300 times after the shooting to try to figure out what had happened, right? Okay. So through the phone records, they identified the shooter. Okay. So through a traffic stop, they got this motherfucker in at Belmont and Western. Okay. The dude on the other line. Okay. The shooter. So when I went down there, we did the lineup. We did they gave me this, and he was standing so close to me. I mean, like, how can I forget this fool's face? So like, when they showed me the paper, I'm like, yeah, that's him. And they took me to the thing and shit. They like turn up, like, yeah, it's number 3 and shit. Like, they're like, okay. So we wound up going to court over this, and the family came to me and was all like, please, don't press charges, like he was asked to do this, like, there's no bad blood between you and him or like us. And I was all like, I have nothing to do with the state's attorney now and shit. Like, these mothers, it's on the DA's office and shit, like, I can't do nothing about it. But I did go and testify. And so now this is like his last day, right? During court, I'm there in the court proceedings. This is going to be his like determination. It was the judge is going to either find him guilty or not guilty, and everything was going towards guilty. So this motherfucker absconded. So he left the courtroom, vanished into the world.
He just fled?
He fled.
He just got up and ran?
So during the court proceedings, he's out on bond. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So he's not incarcerated. So when they had the break, you have a break, he went to the bathroom and just left.
Skedaddle.
Right? He just got the fuck out of there, right? So now, even in absence, they found him guilty and gave him 28 years, right? So now, I don't know if they ever caught this motherfucker, if he went to New York, if he went to Jamaica, if he's like living in jail somewhere. I have no idea. But my heart's not heavy. Like I don't have any resentment towards him or his family or even the motherfuckers that try to do some stupid shit, Really, it was like a signal from God, like, hey, you have a purpose here. There's a reason why you're still here. You're doing what you're doing. And from that moment on, like, my career blew up. Like shortly after that, we got Sub T, because like Sunday was a regular, and then Love You Kate from Sub T and from Borderline, she came over and was all like, hey, we got a Thursday night open. Do you want to do Thursdays? And with any residency, you're like, oh yeah, maybe last a couple months, maybe a year. stuff. Well, 21 years later, you know, like we're still rocking Thursdays. We're actually going to be there tonight.
It is Thursday.
But yeah, that's
crazy, bro. I mean, I have so many questions. Like,
yeah,
that's terrifying.
Oh, what was it ever?
That's terrifying. It's still, I'm terrified right now.
And you know, it was crazy. I really found out who stood with me during these times, right? Because it's like a lot of people faded away, you know, like when it actually first happened, it was hard to get gigs, you know, because like, you know, like people in the community know. This was a funny part of it too. So shout out to the cats from Lava Lounge, and God bless Lavana Soul. But at the time, when they went and grabbed that guy from Lava Lounge, Henry, you know, he wasn't charged with anything. So like when they were looking, you know, calling up the police stations, you know, to try to figure out where he was at, nobody knew. They were like, no, we don't have any record of this fucking guy here, because they brought him in, they detained him, right? You know, for questioning. So Lavana calls me up in the morning, right after they pick him up, and she's all like, George, she's like, what did you do to Henry? Because they just saw the plainclothes guys. They didn't know that they were cops. She was like, did you bring the mob? Because they looked like some fucking Italian goons. One guy had a fucking giant leather trench coat and shit. Like, I mean, when they came in, I mean, like, they were not fucking around. They looked like fucking mobsters and shit. So Lavana swore up and down that I had something to do with like his disappearance and shit.
Yo, that's insane. Well, so have you spoken with Henry since?
Oh, hells no. Well, so turns out that these cats, basically came here from another state. They came here from Michigan, and they had terrorized the Michigan dance hall scene, apparently. So they were moving on to greener pastures, so that when they came here, they had like this whole Ross gangster mentality, you know, like, we're just going to come here and get whatever the fuck we want. You know, if we want this night, it's our night. And they bullied they bullied Field Marshal out of his night at the Wild Hair. I believe it was his Wednesdays before it was his. So like they had this idea that they could just come in and, you know, because, you know, Jamaicans don't play, you know, and they'll test you, you know, but if you stand firm, you know, they'll respect that. They'll be like, oh, okay, he cool, you know. And I got a lot of respect from the Rasta community because I survived, right? They knew that Jah wanted me here. Who Jah bless, no man can curse, you know. So one of the only people that reached out to me, you know, was Murray from Exodus. And he called me as soon as he found out. He's like, hey, man, you know, you're going to be okay. You know, stand firm, young lion. You know, you got this, you know. And I needed to hear those words, man. Like, so respect to Murray, respect to the Rastafari culture in Chicago. You know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, you know.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And so what was the reason that the first shot didn't actually fire?
Okay, so, well, if he had just put it up, like, just like, if he just, like, not even like grazed me, if he just like put it right there, I'd be dead. But he hit me so hard. It's called taking out a battery, right? Because I learned so much because the cops are talking to me about this. So they're like, this happened. They're like, it's a fucking miracle that you're alive. They're like, it's a miracle that the gun jammed like that. And lucky for me, he didn't know how to use his weapon, because instead of just shooting me, he punched me.
He like literally hit you with the front of the gun.
Bro, there was a huge like bruise on my chest. Like, he punched me so hard that when he did it, I was all like, this fool just shot me. I was all like, oh. I was like, that hurts. I was like, ow. Right? But I didn't fall. So we're both looking at each other completely stunned. You know, I'm like, and he's all like, why isn't he dead? Right? So he's like, oh, my gun jammed. So, and I have a little bullet casing in my bedroom that I look at every day. I just have that motherfucker right there. And every day, like I give thanks, you know, because obviously we know about gun violence in Chicago. It takes out a lot of fucking people, man. You know,
It's scary, bro.
it is scary. In Chicago in the 90s was a lot worse, but obviously with the trend that's going on, you know, like what the youth need is more love and obviously education, you know. And without those things, we're just going to keep having more violence on these streets. So that's one of the reasons that I gravitated towards reggae to begin with. It may have a revolutionary spirit, right? Because it it's about fighting against oppression, right? But it also has that conception of pure love. That's what Rastafari is built around, love and understanding.
That's powerful, bro. That's a powerful story. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. And you said, like, yeah, I mean, in the DJ world, if your name is on a flyer where there was a shooting, that's like that's a red flag. It's going to be a little hard to get booked after something like that. If you are the actual guy that they were trying to shoot, I got to imagine it's very hard to get booked after that.
It was. And shout out to Gomez at Subterranean for having faith and belief, because it took him some convincing to allow me to have that residency. And big up to Redlocks as well. He started that night with me. We did it together for 3 years. Within those 3 years, it was really special, right? Because it was kind of like, literally it went from 30 people to 300 people, you know? So like it's the core crowd that would come back every Thursday, you know, and we had Kate and Bobby who were behind the bar, and they were there all the way until 2020. Also as well every Thursday. So it became kind of like a family ritual, right? People would come in, they know Kate, they know Bobby, you know, they'd get their rum punches, you know, and they always knew the music was going to be a certain style, right? No hip hop, no house, no Drake, no this, no that, just straight reggae dance hall. And then I've always loved reggaeton. And thank God reggaeton has blown up the way that it has. You know, it's just, it really points to the passion that all of the Caribbean has for music, right? You know, Puerto Rico gave us a love letter to reggae called reggaeton, right? So big up to Bad Bunny, big up to Daddy Yankee, big up to, you know, all the Puerto Rican artists that have elevated, you know, the genre. And Afro beats too. I mean, what a magical time to live in as a DJ, you know, like Afro beats is blown up. What a wonderful time to be able to mash up all these African Caribbean sounds, right?
Yeah.
So I'm having a lot of fun still.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, how do you keep it fresh at a residency for 21 years, bro?
Well, I mean, that's still a challenge, you know. I mean, like, you know, even tonight, I have guest DJs come in, and you know, I'm a student of the game, so I'm always learning, and I learn from my other DJs all the time. Like, I'm constantly picking up cool things and like cool, like little ways to transition, or like, you know, watching and listening to Chicago DJs has been such a blessing in my life. Like, what a joy. We produce the best. You know, I don't think there's any other city in the world that has produced as many legendary DJs as Chicago has, and we're standing on shoulders of greatness. You know, when we're able to come out and share music at venues, and you know, I don't mind playing in a room for 20 people, I treat that the same as I would when I opened up at Miracle in Mundelein for 5,000 people. You know, it's the exact same vibration, right? You know, like, and for me, my style is like, I want everything to be so seamless, you know, like just one song right into the other. You don't even know it's coming sometimes, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, damn, like how did that happen and stuff? Magic, you know, it's alchemy, you know.
That's
But
how
I don't know how to keep it fresh, man. Like I just do my
well,
best.
you do, because it's still going. I mean, nobody's talking about how we're over Thursdays at Sub T. He's been playing the same set for 21 years. Like, you know, you obviously know what you're doing. You're keeping it fresh. You're doing the thing. It's admirable and inspirational, and like having a residency, I think, is such an important part of DJing that I think is like lost at the moment. You know, everything kind of goes back and forth, comes around, cyclical, all that. Right now where we're at, there's not a ton of people that are holding down residencies. It kind of seems like a more old school thing, but I think it needs to come back. It's time.
I think the challenge may be that, you know, a lot of DJs do have 9-to-5s, right? Have families, have wives, have girlfriends, you know. So it's really a challenge if DJing's not that priority, you know, because you have to make it that priority where like nah, this is it, you know, like. And in terms of me, it's a full-time thing, so I have to have residencies. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have to go out there and get paid,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the scene is different though too. I mean, like I think social media and telephones have really kind of taken away some of the things that made DJing at clubs and bars special, right? Now there's a lot of like, you know, we're going to be at the VIP booth with bottle service, and we're going to have this phone out in front of us, and we're going to pretend to have a really great time for the Instagram, but when the phone's off, we're just like, whatever.
Yeah. You know? Waiting for that next moment to come where you can film it.
You know, instead of being like, oh my God, you know, I'm at this party and shit, and fucking everything's cool and shit. There's little honey over there winking at me and shit. Oh, let me get a drink and walk over there, you know, like just real interactions with everybody, you know, and each other, you know, like, how are you supposed to dance with each other if you're fucking on the phone, not looking at each other? You know, like how does it, I don't get it. So that's why I like DJing at Estelle's, right? Like at Estelle's is so cool. Like it's, I get to play whatever I want, however I want to do it, you know, and set a cool mood, you know, like nobody has to dance, you know, like, you know, if you do, cool, you know, like if you don't, cool too, you know, just hear what I got to give.
At what point did you start playing other music other than reggae, or had you always been a little bit, but if you were doing the reggae party, it's like, this is only reggae, that's it. But if you want to come see me over here, I'm playing some other shit.
That only happened recently out of necessity, right? So like I've always had like a large collection of jazz, blues, funk, you know, that was part of the stuff that I was collecting as a young man, right? You know, so yeah, after 2020 and COVID hit, you know, like the dynamic changed a lot. Like I said, in Wicker Park, and after doing it for so long too, you know, just being super strict about nothing but reggae when I come out, it's been really nice exploring other genres, right? It's been really nice opening up and being like, I'm just gonna do a whole R&B set, like it's just nothing but R&B. You know, but I'll mash shit up. I'll be like, oh, well, this one might work with this rhythm and stuff, and I'll just, you know, like we'll throw in some reggae in the R&B and stuff, but like we'll keep it R&B. Or like sometimes when I work at Simone's, big up DJ Gonzo, I do an all reggaeton set. You know, it's just strictly reggaeton. You know, I've done like all house sets sometimes. I mean, like I DJ'd at the Serbian restaurant over there in Brookfield and stuff. Like I did all types of music I didn't even know about, you know, but it was cool learning about it, right? Because I'm a student, right? It's like, oh, cool, you know, I never knew we could mash this up together, and then that just keeps opening, and then really I think that's how I've been able to keep it at least fresh for me, right? Is being able to do like an all hip hop set on Tuesday and do an all disco set on Saturday, and then bring what I learned, you know, from doing those genres on Thursday night and being like, oh, well, I'm gonna try out this new transition that I learned on this disco set, you know, like, you know, incorporated with the reggae, you know, like how, you know, so
that's really relatable for me right now, because I've been doing disco, I've been doing house. I came from hip hop, came from doing the, you know, shows at Sub T with Aloe, playing. He was Wes Restless's DJ. I was Matlock's DJ. I opened for like People Under the Stairs over there. A lot of underground hip hop shit.
Yes.
It's where I came from. Whatever. 16, 17 years later, now I'm really into house music, and I have a respect for it that I never had before. I would hear it, but it wouldn't do anything to me. I'd be like, it's not for me. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But now I hear it and like I fucking feel it. I love it. And mixing house, mixing disco is so different than mixing hip hop.
Without a doubt.
And now I'm like taking some stuff from that and bringing it back. Like I'm about to go to Arizona and do a couple open format gigs. I'm excited to take what I've learned and like go incorporate it into this thing that I used to do. And it's exciting, bro. It really is. Just like you said.
Best. Good, better, best. You know, and that's the thing about being a student of the game, you know. We're good, you know, but every time we reach out and grab new genres and like learn new techniques, we get better, you know, and that's why we're the best.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's what's up, G.
But yeah, I mean, what you said in the beginning about like having, it's your duty to share the music with people, that really hit me. Like, you know, I'm sure you remember Eddie Mills. R.I.P.
Yes, I do.
That was like his big thing, you know, when I was DJing at Bottle Blonde and Underground and coming up as a DJ and starting to make waves and make a name for myself. He would always be like, you make sure you're giving them some Tribe Called Quest. Make sure you're giving them some of the shit that you love. Like, it is your job to show these people music. And I would reject that. I would always be like, yeah, but they're not going to like that. Like, I'm trying to impress the club owner. I'm trying to keep my residency. I'm trying to get this other gig. Like, if I go up there and do that, I'm going to be fucking it up. But now at this point, it's really ringing true to me. Like, it's really resonating with me. It's really making sense. I think about it pretty often. And it's real shit. It is our job.
And I think there's a learning curve to that too, because, you know, you have to have faith, you know, that, you know, the listeners at this venue and, you know, Bottle Blonde had his issues, you know, like, and, you know, I could imagine being there and being like, okay, I know what crowd this is. I know what they want. I'm going to fucking force feed that to them, you know, and not stray off course. You know, not even a little bit, because it's like, you know, especially back in the day when they didn't have cell phones or bottle service like that, it was really important to keep that dance floor going. You know, like there was no like, oh shit, I fucked up. But it happens, right? Because everything's on the fly. We're doing shit on the fly. I remember Jesse De La Pena was like, big up Jesse. He gave me some advice. He was all like, man, like, if one song clears the dance floor out, don't worry, you got another one that'll bring him back. You know, it's okay to experiment. You know, we're like jazz artists out there, you know, like, and sometimes they don't even notice when we fucking up, you know. I'll be like, you know, sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I fucked that transition up. And they're like, man, it was great. And I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, but, and two, we're our own biggest critics. I know I am, you know, like for example, I hate being late to a gig. Like, I hate it. Like, I want to get there early. I want to be able to set up. I want to make sure the monitor's fucking working. You know, like little things like that, you know. Want to make sure the lights are on, lights are off, have a good rapport with like the bar staff and like security and stuff. Like all that takes time, I know a lot of DJs come in late, and they walk in like fucking, they're like God's gift to everybody, right? And there is that like ego, and then there is that like, like not arrogance, but that confidence, right? We're like, yeah, I'm about to fuck some shit up. And that's okay, but at the same time, we're servants, we're just here to serve, hospitality. That's really what we're in,
Absolutely.
So that's been the mission statement this whole time. And, happy to be part of a wonderful community of DJs that love one another and respect one another and appreciate each other's value, for what they do in the community. You brought up Eddie Mills, big up DJ Commando, rest in peace as well. And that's another thing, mental health for us, because like, after being in these clubs for so long, there's drinking, I know I abuse alcohol sometimes, there's drugs. I like weed, but there's other shit too, and that all takes a toll, physically, mentally. Then there's relationships, so I understand when like, people talk about we need to be able to speak to one another about our problems and, get things off our chest and being able to have the community where you don't feel like you're alone, and so yeah, just remembering, my brothers that have passed, just know that we here with you. We love you. If you need to reach out, we're here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that goes for me too. I mean, like, I thank God that I have good friends, because 2020 was a wrecking ball in my life, from, relationships to work, to where I stay, where I live. I never thought in my wildest dream I'd be living in Chinatown, but I love it. Chinatown's the shit. Best neighborhood I've lived in so far. And I've lived in mostly all of them, from Wrigleyville to Wicker Park to Back of the Yards to Hyde Park to Rogers Park. I mean, like, yeah, so it's, like I said, thank goodness for friends and family that are there, because, the tricky thing about it, right, is that like when we're not feeling well, inside mentally, we can't show that, right? We have to suppress all of that and be the life of the party. 300 people are happy. You look happy, but inside you're dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been up there like in bad times where like I'll hear a song and it'll make me cry while I'm on stage. I played one of those. I played Millennium Park this year, and I played Ziggy Marley's on a beach in Hawaii, and it was, man, it just brought me back to certain times and stuff. And like music makes me emotional, and if it wasn't for music, I wouldn't be here. I think Marvin Gaye said it best. He goes, without music, I'd go crazy, so I understand, even though I'm feeling bad, I have a duty to go out there and heal people through the music, right? Make them feel better. And then when that happens, I feel better, right? Mm-hmm. So like it's there's a reciprocation happening, so yeah. And mental health's a fucking real thing, man, out here, and especially for entertainers. I mean, like, look at Robin Williams,
mm-hmm.
The funniest cat on the planet, always joyful, always laughing, always smiling. But deep down inside, he was fucking dying, So artists give a lot more than people imagine or think. I would come home, to my ex or my exes, and I'd be like exhausted after doing 5 hours of standing in one spot DJing, right? Just mentally exhausted, wired but exhausted. And I'd be like, why are you so tired? I'd be like, man, I just gave my all. I just like there was a lot going. There was a lot of mental shit going on in there. Like I'm fucking exhausted, and they couldn't equate it to like manual labor is here, DJing is here, right? But God damn it, I mean it's pretty fucking close. I mean, like, you try to stand in one place for fucking 5 hours thinking.
Yeah, working.
And not only thinking, but you've got one song that's fucking playing. You got the next song that you're queuing up. And while you're doing all that, you're still even thinking about the next song. So you've got like 3 songs in your head at one fucking time. Believe me, it's not that easy.
It's not that easy, especially with a crowd that's just like teetering on the edge. You're like, I got him, but like I don't got him good enough to be able to chill for 1 second.
Right. There is no chill.
There's no chill.
There's no chills. I remember when so now I'm at Guitar Center, right? And the CDJ 100s were already out, and they were really cool, right? But then the CDJ 1000s came out, right? And I saw the future. Like especially working in the industry, you kind of get like cool little briefings about stuff, and they give you like information about stuff. So, and then the Pioneer guy came and demoed the 1000 for us. So I bought one immediately. Employee discount, I bought one. And all the DJs that would show up, right? I remember Phonograph Scientist showed up. It was a crew from the late 90s. They showed up, and I was all like, guys, I got something to show you. This is the future. This is it, right? And I showed them the 1000, and they were all laughing like that. Like they were like, Pfft. They're like, that ain't gonna do shit, right? But it has, and it's become industry standard, right? So like those 1000s. I had a 1000 and a 100, right? And I started turning my collection more into a CD collection, right? And eventually I was DJing just on CDs for years, and that was also mind and it was exhausting only because it's like there's something special about vinyl, right? And on CD, like it has this value. And I had a lot of fun with it because I obviously had a lot less gear to bring, right? Like it was a lot easier to bring 1,000 CDs instead of 1,000 records, right? And with 1,000 CDs, I had just so much. Like I had so much room to do stuff. And at one point, like I could just look at a CD and know what was in it and stuff. And then I'd have my CDs arranged in a way through rhythm, so I'd be able to jump from rhythm to rhythm to rhythm to rhythm to rhythm. It was a lot of fun. And then obviously Serato came and changed the game for everybody and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was late to getting on Serato. I was kind of like the vinyl DJs that were like, no, I don't want to get on Serato.
You were the old head.
Yeah, then I'm the old head, right. But Serato changed the game, and it's good. I like how anybody could pick it up. Anybody could download Serato, get a couple crates of music, and DJ. You get a little controller and shit, and you're off.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. We, I don't want to hold you too long, but you did bring a box of, I don't even know what it is, but you walked in here with a box, and that's exciting to me.
We're
especially after everything I've heard thus far. Thank you guys for watching. Real quick, I got some Arizona dates locked in. If you're going to be in AZ, January, February, come check me out. January 23rd, I'll be at Almost Famous. 24th, I'll be at Barstool. Sunday the 25th, I'll be at Montauk. The 30th, I'll be at Kill Club. On the 31st, I'm actually coming back to Chicago. I'm doing the Wonder Museum event and then Celeste at night. February 2nd, Arizona at the Beverly. February 5th, Waste Management Weekend. The Disconnect takes over Almost Famous. That's going to be absolutely bananas. February 7th, I'll be at Estelle. On the 8th, back at the Beverly. And then the 14th, I'm doing Blue Martini. Let's go, champ. Come check me out if you're around. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Back to the show. We're back. We're going to crack into the box. We do have to, we got to keep it a time in mind a bit just for Diamond Cut. I'll sit here for 3 days and do this straight. But my boy who's got to edit it, he gets a little upset with me when it goes long.
I got you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so what do we have in the box? Okay, so obviously we started before social media, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I had to do, right, to be able to spread the message, was guerrilla marketing, right? So coming from the world of graffiti, because when I was a shorty, part of a crew, we would go bombing, we'd fuck some shit up, right? So I took that mentality, right, of bombing, but instead of tagging, I put up posters, right? So we did we did so many posters. I mean, we bombed the city hard. I got in trouble this year for doing it in Wicker Park Fest because we still do it, right? Because it's fun. I'll give you an example. So Borderline was my first real residency.
You may have to hold it, like that.
Yeah. So this is, So this is my first residency. This was like one of the old school posters that we made for the night, right? It was originally in color, but to be able to mass produce it and put it out on the street,
cheaper on black and white.
So that was one of the first ones. This is one of the first reggae gold. Look, we even misspelled Subterranean. Yep, look, Redlocks, Papa G.
That's awesome, bro.
Reggae, dancehall, reggaeton. Oh, we even played a little bhangra back then. Well, that was Redlocks. So yeah, these aren't in order or anything, but I mean, we've got receipts for everything. I mean, from Wicker Park Fest. Oh, this was a good one. Mamby on the Beach.
Mamby.
Oh yeah, big up Collective and React. Oh, Mamby was fun. Let me see what else. We did Miracle in Mundelein. This is the one with Cypress Hill, Action Bronson, and Stephen Marley. This was fun.
That's sick.
Oh man, one of my favorites. Oh, Wyclef at the Metro.
Oh wow.
Oh my God, what a talented artist. So humble, so cool, man. Like this brother. I don't know why he's not out there more touring. I mean, this guy's the real deal. I mean, he played like 20 different instruments. He told us stories. He came up to I was DJing in the balcony. He came up to the DJ booth and it just jammed out with me. I played some rhythms for him and he snapped.
That's sick.
Wyclef.
Who's like a most memorable person that you got to share some weed with?
Oh, I'll give you a good story about that. Let me see if I can find the poster for that. Okay, so this is a great story. I'm sure you're familiar with Toots and the Maytals.
No.
Okay, so Toots is credited. Toots and the Maytals. Toots is credited to coining the word reggae. Okay. So now, legendary foundation artist, right, from the very beginning. Super fit, right? So when he does his shows, like, it's just super vibrant, a lot of energy. I'm sure if you heard some of his songs, like, you'd be like, oh yeah, because they sample some of his some of the things that he's done. So Toots, okay, it's a 2016. It's the Chicago Reggae Fest. Okay, brought together by Sub T. We had such a great reggae night that they were like, well, let's bring some reggae artists. So who do they bring? Toots and the Maytals, Lee Scratch Perry, I believe it was Iration, a couple of different artists. So now I get there early with my family, right? We're driving in, to the load-in section. And it's like, it's like a little gravel road. It's in Adams Park. It's on Adams Park. That's before they built the little stadium over there in the little center. So it's Adams Park over there by 14th and Ashland. There's like a little gravel road where like I'm able to drive and unload and park. So down the gravel road is a gentleman, right? And he's walking down my way. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God. I was like, that's Toots. He's walking by himself, just chilling. He's just walking by himself, Toots. And I'm like, hey, Toots, I'm your DJ today, right? And he walks over to the car. He's like, you're my DJ? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, you got any herb? And I go, yeah. I had like a ½ ounce in my pocket. I go, yeah, man. I go, here. So I gave him the ½ ounce, and he looks at it, and he's all like, you're my friend, right? So I get out, I dap him up and stuff. I had him give me a little ID, a little special, because we used to do radio, right? So when we would go to concerts and meet like Sizzla or Capleton, we'd be like, can you give us a little jingle for the radio? So they'd be like, they'd sing a song, they'd be like, I don't know, they'd be like, burn 'em up, like whatever the song is, and they'd be like, big up Papa G at KCSB, right? So I had him do one for me, because I was on the radio when I came back too. I was on WLUW, I was on WHPK. Always fun being on the radio. It's a lot of fun. Like it's more fun than you think and stuff. But we had him do a jingle for me, and I was like his best friend the whole day. Anytime he saw me, he'd big me up, dap me up and stuff. And I got to interview him later on that day in the trailer. So now we're trying to walk into the trailer. He's got some big sons, right? And they didn't know that we were cool. And I was just walking in the trailer like I knew somebody and shit.
Yeah.
They're like, boy, where the fuck are you going and stuff? And I was like, oh, I know Toots. And they're like, boy, you don't know Toots. And I was like, yeah, I know Toots. I was like, Toots. He's like, oh, let him in. So I got to kick it with him. We smoked. We did a little interview. But what a great experience. I mean, like, and I think that's what's been special about my career and what I've been doing is that I love these artists. Right? I've loved them for a long time before I started DJing. So now I get to interact. I get to give them a ½ ounce. Wow. I mean, it's better than getting paid, so what a joy. What a joy. And for the most part, reggae artists are Jimmy Cliff, super humble, super gracious, willing to give of his time and wisdom sometimes, super special. The reggae community is super special, and I've lived a dream because I've been able to share moments, with all these people. Like, for example, Wyclef. I mean, like, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got so much here. I mean, like, this is. I mean, I've got newspapers in here. I mean, like, oh my God, and then legendary stuff at the shrine. Like opening up for Sister Nancy. I think this was Sister Nancy and Kamani Marley. Oh, look, Zebo.
Yeah, shouts to Zebo.
What up, dog? Look at that. Yep. We had Sister Nancy come through.
That's awesome, bro. If this isn't a crazy ask, if there's any of those that you have a bunch of, can I have one to put in here somewhere?
Of course. Look at this. So remember the cats that I was talking about, right? That wanted to do the exchange. Mm-hmm. This is the flyer that they made for that exchange. Bob Marley meets Jimi Hendrix. Why they thought that would work, I have no idea. But this was it. Every Sunday, the note. See? They didn't even put my name on this thing, but they put Bob Marley and Jimi Hendrix. So weird. That was the promotional group that tried to assassinate me.
That's fucking, just to be able to say that sentence is absolutely insane.
Oh, man. It has been insane. Oh, look at Barrington Levy. Oh, Barrington. Oh, and
Dead Prez.
And it's crazy because it's like, we keep, I mentioned Stone Love earlier. Stone Love, big shout out to Rory. I mean, like this brother right here, like if I learned anything from any dancehall DJ, I learned the most from him. I first saw him spin at Sierra Nevada Fest 2007, and every song that he played was on a dub plate. So a dub plate is where like you get Sean Paul to do Temperature, but to shout out your name in your sound system. So the way the time go, Rory, keep you warm. I got the right attitude. Stone loving them more. Whatever, right? So every song, and they were all bangers. Every hit song, every contemporary hit song, and they were all dub plates bigging them up. It just blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, this is like the pinnacle. So Stone Love, and then there's another sound system called Mighty Crown from Japan. Those are like the two top sound system. And then there's a cat from the UK. And because he's been around and he's an elder, he may be the number one. And his name is David Radigan. I've never met David Radigan. Okay. I met Rory, so I learned from him personally. But just watching how David Radigan does his thing, he goes through time, bro. And he's, he kind of has a voice like David Attenborough if he was Jamaican. David Radigan. You got to check these cats out. These cats are amazing sound system DJs. Oh, here's another Mandy. Oh, the Mandy ones were so cool. The Mandy ones are so cool because they were right on the beach.
Mm-hmm. That was a dope festival.
And for this one, I opened up the I think it was Sunday. They opened up, yes, with a gospel choir.
That's
Holy
tight.
shit. Oh man, it was impossible not to feel the spirit. Like the water, the lake right here, there was clouds forming right over us because it was kind of misty because it was the morning and stuff. And it was special. It was a special way to start that day, just giving praise, understanding that, there is something greater than us, whatever you want to call it, but there is something greater and we should give praise, And that was one of the things that I do at Reggae Gold. During my set, I'll be we give thanks and praise every day. We give thanks and praise to the Most High. We give thanks and praise to King Alpha and Queen Omega, the father and mother of creation. Sometimes I'll even be God is a woman. People freak out, be sometimes, you hear a roar from the women, yeah. And the guys, but, the creator is obviously a woman.
Women create life.
Women create life. There you go. Thank you, Mama.
Mother Nature.
Oh yeah, we were doing. So one of the reasons that we were doing so many concerts out there because we had every Sunday there, at the shrine. So one side would be dedicated to house music, and the other one was reggae. Because they had two sides over there. Man, the shrine was special.
The shrine was dope, dude. I opened up there 2 times for Vince Adams as just a 19-year-old
awesome
kid that doesn't know what he's doing, just got some DJ equipment. But my dad's fiance at the time would cut the hair of this woman who knew Joe, and she was over at my crib, and I don't know, I was DJing or something, and she was like, oh yeah, no, have you ever heard of the shrine? And I was like, yeah, obviously, Timbuk Tuesday, every Tuesday at the shrine. It was just the illest spot. And she was like, I know the owner, I'll see if you could play there.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was nuts. So dope.
Yeah, Joe Russo, big up Joe. He created a wonderful venue here. It's a high rise now, and when I go past it, because I live in Chinatown, I go past it all the time, and I'm just like, man, all the wonderful memories. What a wonderful crew that he got together, and we had an amazing time in the green room. The green room might have been one of the best ones in the city. It had its own bathroom and shower and stuff. It was very hospitable. You go down there and kick it hard. And he had posters like this everywhere. So the whole downstairs was decorated with posters from the events that we did at Shrine. So these actually were on a wall. These were on a wall at one point, and then when I moved out of my other spot, we Yellow Man, King Yellow, the king of the dance hall.
That's sick.
This brother's got so many cool hits, man. Yellow Man, big up yourself. Still king of the dance hall.
Yeah, the shrine, dude. I remember being in high school, getting on MySpace, trying to see where the, you know, Timbuktu and 33 and a third were DJing and shit.
Oh, DJ 33 and a third. Wow. Yeah, that brings me back. You know, it's been a joy to be able to share time with like you know, and share stages with like people that you admire. You know, like I admire all these cats. You know, because like what they do is special. So this used to be a publication here in Chicago. You know, there was actually a large publication. Frontline Publishing was here in Chicago, and they published a lot of books about Rastafari and Ethiopian culture and religion. And this was one of the papers that they had. So this is His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, defender of the faith. Right? Okay. So annually we would do a thing called Selassie Fest. Okay. So one year they documented us doing it, and we had this paper. Oh, here it is. Can't Stop Selassie by Microphone Bill. Big up Microphone Bill. He's on WHPK, by the way. Yeah, let me show you some of this stuff here. Check this out. So there's some pictures of what was happening, and you know, these weren't huge gatherings and stuff, but I mean, it was like we brought the sound system out.
Rasta Chris on the mic, Papa G on the tables.
Man. Yeah, it was a special time.
That's dope, dude. Damn, I love that you have all of this. I love that you have physical copies of all of this.
Oh, we got receipts.
That's what we're missing right now. Like
And see, this is what I'm talking about. We would do stuff like this. So this is when we moved
Evil Olive.
Oh, we moved our party from Debonair on Sundays to Evil Olive one year and shit.
There's Zebo again.
So we have Zebo. What else do we have on there? But see, we would have these posters out in Wicker Park, like so we weren't fucking around.
That's awesome, dude.
And
Here,
see, this is the extent of like the stuff at the shrine. I mean, like damn near every week there was another dope reggae artist, you know, coming through. So really the culture expanded during this time, you know, and this is, what year is this? Oh my God, this is, I can't.
And they were doing the same thing for hip hop. Like Rakim was in there, Master Ace was in there.
Yes. The culture was alive when Shrine was here,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and even if they took a loss on the show, they'd be like, you know what, it gives us credibility. And the way that they treated every artist wanted to come to the Shrine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they were down to come. You know, oh, this is when we're doing Sonotech, or what they call Beauty Bar now.
Yes.
Look at that. We got a Major Taylor, big up Major Taylor. I learned so much from Major Taylor. He does some of the best mashups. I mean, like, hands down. I mean, I remember seeing him at Tuman's one year, and this is all vinyl, by the way. And he's mashing up like Led Zeppelin into Michael Jackson, into some hip hop, into some like art. But I mean, like straight mash ups, like cold. Yeah, Major Taylor's cold-blooded.
That's sick, bro. I'm so glad that you hit me up. And I'm so glad that we made this happen. I had to cancel the first one. You had to cancel the second one. We were both sick. Everyone's getting sick right now. It's just what it is. It's the time of the year.
But you know what, man? Thank you for having me. I appreciate this space that you've built and the podcast that you do. I think it's important for, you know, especially for Chicago, to understand, you know, like, you know, not only where we come from, but where we're at, how we got here, where we're going, why we're doing this. Now, some people think it's just for shits and giggles. I mean, like, you know, we did it for the love. You know, we do it for the love. You know, this isn't like, oh, look at me, I'm DJ Papa G, I'm the coolest kid around and shit. Like, no, man, I'm just a servant. Sure, you come kick it with me. You know, have fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. This is awesome. You're gonna have to come back on. I know we only scratched the surface.
Oh, I got mad stories.
I'm sure. I got questions. We're definitely gonna have to.
We'll do a part 2. I'm down.
I'm gonna need an education on reggae.
Oh, I got you.
I'm gonna need that. I definitely like this.
I got you. Next time I'll bring in some music. Could throw some things on.
That'd be really dope.
You know, like instead of a box of things, I could bring a box of cool little 45s and records that'll be like because each song and each record has a story too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been doing it for so long, right? Like I'll be like, oh, this Barrington Levy. I remember when I met Barrington Levy, and like they're always imparting a little bit of wisdom of why or how they've maintained a level of excellence for so long. Because I don't know if you know who Barrington Levy is, but that brother, when he's in concert, it's studio quality. It sounds exactly like the record.
That's crazy.
No flaws. No. He missed a note. Like it went over there a little bit. Like he mistimed this. Perfect. There's another artist like that too. There's Romain Virgo. There's Taurus Riley. Some of these Jamaican artists, man, they're not fucking around, man. So yeah, there's mad stories. Yeah, and I'll bring the music and we'll talk about it. And
yeah. Maybe we could do a Patreon episode. We could smoke some weed. We can get high. We could listen to music. That'd be really tight. Chalice. That'd be really tight.
Bring the chalice. That's like a Rasta bong.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm in. I've never been great on the bong.
Okay. We'll bring
my
big
throat.
spliff.
Yeah, please. It destroys my throat. I'm not good at it. I tried in Houston. I lived in Houston. My boys, they had a bong. I was doing it at their crib. I'm like, this is dope. I need a bong, and I got one, and I need to have a better relationship with it. I feel like you're the man to bridge the gap.
I got you.
I'm into that. So thank you very much again,
man,
bro.
thank
You for your time. Thank you for hauling this over here. Thank you for spreading wisdom. Like, this was an incredible podcast, bro. I'm very excited.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, man.
Love Chicago. Bear down.
Absolutely. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment, algorithm, activating activity. Let's go, champ. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Well, alright. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told.